Hello everyone, thank you very much for joining this webinar. Today we will be talking about disrupting wealth management services with analytics and artificial intelligence. With us is Jaime Bolívar, Managing Director of TechRules. Hello Jaime.
Hi, hello Begoña, this is Jaime Bolívar. I'm really happy to join this conference with you.
Joining as well Javier Carrallo from the Business Development Department.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to be here as well.
And this is Begoña Rubio from the Business Department and Marketing as well. So today we will be talking about three main topics. It will be digital wealth management to be focused on customer-centric solutions. We will be having a look at analytics in wealth management to personalize experience, and of course, artificial intelligence as a new combination of science and human-based advisory models. So let us speak a little bit about TechRules history. I mean, we've been more than 20 years in the market, launching asset and wealth management solutions. This is our core. This is why today we will be talking about these topics. And it's quite important for us to say that in the investment area, we've been launching a do-it-yourself platform in 2013, as well as several robo-advisors starting in 2014. And of course, all our solutions are API-based for the last couple of years. So, as we said, more than 20 years, working mainly in Europe with Europe and Latin America, in countries like Switzerland, Germany, UK, of course, Spain as well, and key countries as well in Latin America and the States. So, if we focus on what's really important for the financial entities to provide a holistic service to their customers in different segments, no matter if they are working in private banking, personal banking, or retail, we need to provide a multi-channel and multi-entity platform so they can log from everywhere, anywhere, anytime. It has to be fully automated to be really operational, in accordance with any latest regulation per country. Different type of advisory models, no matter if it's advisory as it is or discretionary management, and it will have to be fully integrated with whatever the entity might need, different custodians or their management systems or other technical companies. So if we have a look at this, at the screen right now, we see from Boston this graphic that we thought it was quite interesting because it's talking about three main aspects, which will be customer understanding, analytics, and data. And of course, in the wealth management area, we will be talking in customer understanding, we will be talking about not the financial versus purpose, but a positive social impact. That's a must as per today. Of course, transparency and simplicity to personalize the service is what's going to gain trust as well for the customer. So these are the key aspects that the customer is going to be needing. Of course, interactions regarding data have to be 24/7 available for our customers. This is why TechRules as well has a 24/7 support and maintenance service, because our customers really need it, really were demanding it. And everything has to be, even for the financial entity, personalized to remain essential at the end of the day for the end customer. So we will be talking about services that will be able to escalate at any point with the state-of-the-art analytics, personalized products to be a single touch point for the end customer, because it's not going to be a financial advisor anymore, but a life and wellness advisor for the future. And taking that into consideration, we really believe we need to improve customer offering. And how we're going to do that? We are going to do it providing technology that leads generation, taking into account the knowledge that we have for many other platforms in marketing, but we will be able to lead generation and focus on the relationship with the customer using artificial intelligence and analytics. That's what will bring return of investment at a certain point. It's key to improve client engagement. We will talk to the customer as much as is needed when the customer wants. Better advisory and customer experience at any time, anywhere. Processes has to be more simple to be able as well to reduce costs, so it should be more efficient. Compliance has to be there, but let's be able to reduce compliance risk. And we will do all of that, taking also into account artificial intelligence and machine learning. So how do we see the disrupting wealth management service using analytics and artificial intelligence? Because we need, as we said, this customer understanding together with technology, together with analytics and data. So if we have all of that together in one single platform, we will be able to pull out the analytics with deeper data sets, analysis and customer understanding, deep customer understanding, forecasting efficiently what's going to be there for the customer is going to be a best-in-class advice, which even taking into account sentiment analysis, why not? Risk management is another key area with artificial intelligence and machine learning to identify new pricing signals. And with machine learning, we will be able to identify signals to generate predictions in the future, as well as, for example, the volatility in the pricing. And of course, we know from the recent years that robo-advisors, and in our case, our solutions are fully based on API, so each entity could select wherever they might want, but the robo-advisor, what it does, it's fully automation of the investments of the end customer, taking into account as well that the financial entity needs to take control with their wealth management solution in their core units to make decisions as well. So everything that happens in different platforms will be also happening in the same solutions for the financial entities. This is why we believe that we need to put in place solutions that are core for the entity, but as well for the customer. So with the same platforms and taking into account the structure, with the same databases and the same algorithms, we will be able to provide and pull out the information for artificial intelligence, machine learning, or risk analytics that will be coming from the core wealth management solution, maybe for business intelligence to understand what the customer needs. Once we have portfolios, customers, assets, and everything, all the information coming from the CRM in one platform, we can understand what's going on really and be deeper into the analysis of what the customer wants or the advisor or the financial entity needs. So next point will be analytics in wealth management to be able to personalize exactly that, the experience of the customer. So Javier, should we go?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Begoña. Good morning, everyone, again. For today's session, I just put together some key points that you can see on the screen. After doing a quick intro on Tower Wealth Management, which is our wealth management suite, I would like to focus on the importance of the use of data in the wealth management industry. This is definitely a critical issue, and today we need to deal with both structured information and unstructured information. So we need to cater for this. Then moving on to enhanced analytics. Once again, we need to go one step beyond to the traditional reporting process that we've been doing for the last 20 years, where we talk about profitability, and we need to turn numbers into stories so that it's easier for the client to understand and easier for the advisor as well. Personalization with segmentation and preferences for us is also very important. So it's not good enough to have a global strategy applicable for every single client, but we need to break it down into different segments and apply these different approaches. And then finally, a little bit of financial planning. We call holistic goal-based advice, where we will be able to understand goals, desires, and targets for each of our clients. Right. Tower Wealth Management has been in the market for nearly 12 years, and every year we do a major revamping of the solution, whether it's a front end or perhaps a set of APIs available for clients or a new module. So it's a very dynamic platform. And with Tower, we try to provide a 360-degree solution for advisors and clients. So using Tower, you can provide advisory services. Then you can also provide discretionary management services and also execution-only services for clients with this type of contract. With Tower, we cater for the entire wealth management cycle. From the time the client goes into the branch, needs a digital onboarding, then we provide a portfolio management tool. You can see all these modules available in the tool in the outer part of the circle with investment proposals, reporting, model portfolios, and so on and so forth. We are very flexible in terms of customization. We always say that it's an 80-20 tool. So 80% standard, 20% can be customized for the client. And all these new developments come on stream later in the year for the rest of the clients. Integration is something that is critical for the solution, and we always look after this part of the project, as well as the deployment and the consultancy service. And just to finish, sometimes we work with third parties to complement the offering. Like, for example, electronic signature, depending on the country, we will need one or other partner. So we're very open to collaborate with third parties for this purpose. So moving on to data. So the importance of data in the wealth management industry. Some people call data as the new oil. And the reality is that data is the fuel of many of the things that the industry is trying to do today, whether it's increase profitability, increase revenues, reduce cost. If you have the right data, then you should be able to do this. But the way we see it is that data is just the raw material that we need to produce the finished product, and this finished product needs to be delivered to the right person at the right time in the right place. And with a platform like Tower Wealth Management, you should be able to do this. If you think about it, the wealth management industry is really lagging behind many industries, like, for example, retailers. You go to Amazon and you've got all the products that you're likely to buy on the back of your history and on the back of your profile. Well, we should be able to do this kind of thing going forward in the wealth management industry. My colleague Jaime is going to talk about what we are doing in this area, which I think is rather interesting, and there is a huge potential to grow. And again, we need structured information, which is the traditional reporting that we've been doing for many years, combined with information coming from social networks and many things. So going from analytics to artificial intelligence and combining the two. If we are able to combine these two, then it will be a very personalized user experience, and then we should be able to treat clients by who they are rather than just a number. And this is the main goal, personalization for the clients. And why are we seeing this today? For two reasons. First of all, the intergenerational change. So the new generation was born with the internet. They have a different mindset, and they have different expectations, and they are 100% digital. So it's something that we need to bear in mind. And one new KPI that many private bankers are now taking into account is the average age of the client. As this number moves down, we need to be more and more digital to cater for them. And the second reason is cost savings. Of course, we need to increase the clients per relationship manager, increase revenue, and as we have cost pressures, then this is definitely a priority. Now, to do all this, we need to have proper infrastructure in place. And that means good quality data governance, data collection and processing, and of course, data delivery. And something like Tower Wealth Management can definitely help in this process. Enhanced analytics, turning numbers into stories. Once again, the idea is just go one step beyond the traditional reporting and delivering a story instead of a number. So we see two drawbacks for the traditional approach. So if we provide more numbers, then it becomes really sophisticated, and we see two problems. First of all, you need very experienced financial advisors to be able to understand the reporting. And the second drawback is that you need to have clients that are interested in this approach. And this is a difficult combination to find. So what we suggest, just as an example of the things that we can do, is the automatic portfolio assessment tool. So the idea is that we take into account different criteria and we produce a score, portfolio score from 0 to 10, and it tells you about the quality of your portfolio. So it's just a number, and behind the number, we've got a full story. Then after that, if the number is low, we can start generating ideas of how to improve the quality of your portfolio. We can generate automatic recommendations. And if you take into account preferences and restrictions of clients, then it's a winning combination. Then investment alternatives based on behavior of the client, behavior of the peers, behavior of the rest of the community. So there are endless possibilities. It's a question of sitting down with the institution and defining the workflow and the best approach going forward. And of course, all this is API based. So if you want to include this in your existing platform, it's no problem at all. On the right-hand side, you can see an example. So the score of this portfolio is 694, and it's based on 4 different criteria. So diversification, which is really good. So the portfolio is very well diversified. Then the trend of the stocks and whether they are in the focus list or not. That's also really fine. Where it is very weak is on the risk side, where you can see that for a dynamic profile should be between 15 and 25, and risk metric is now 55. So this is too much risk for this client, and we are reflecting that by lowering the score, overall score of the portfolio to 694. Right, and there are endless possibilities with this kind of approach. Now, moving on to the next item is about personalized user experience using segmentation. So the way we say it is that the one-size-fits-all approach that has been so typical in the private banking and personal banking sector, no longer works, and we need to do something about this. So our idea is to break down the customer base into different segments, and for each of these segments, you should be able to identify needs and desires and targets, and then on the back of that, we can start offering the most suitable products and services, so it becomes a very personal experience. To be able to do this, the way we see it is that you need a tool that will help you to define workflows for each of the segments, alerts and strategies for each of the segments, and perhaps even reporting layouts, different reporting layouts depending whether the client is in one or other segment. And Tower Wealth Management will help you to do that. And if you also take into account preferences and restrictions of each of the client, is definitely a very powerful mix. Then, of course, all this needs to be traceable in case the regulator wants to know more or management wants to get statistics. Then we can monitor the progress on each of the groups and each of the campaigns, and everything will be recorded in what we call touch points that gets everything well under control for management, for the regulator, and for compliance. So if we act like this, we see that we can have a very industrialized approach with a personalized service for the client. The final point I would like to discuss today is about holistic goal-based advice. So it's financial planning, but very complete approach if you want. So everybody is talking about catching the retirement wave. And our view is that we need to go well beyond that. So it's not about retirement, it's about planning your life. Yeah. So our proposition is looking at the wealth of the client or the family in a holistic way. So taking into account internal assets and liabilities and external assets and liabilities, and compiling a very clear picture of where we are sitting today. And then on the back of it, we can start defining short, medium, and long-term objectives. So you could have retirement, of course, this is a very important one, but also buying a property or studies for your kids, and several objectives combined within the same plan. And then, of course, we try to avoid short-term planning, but you can also include this short-term plan within your overall plan. And then we can do a detailed follow-up, monitoring key metrics, and doing reporting on a regular basis. So if we see deviations to the original plan, then we can act about this and we can fine-tuning going forward the plan. I guess it's important to work on the concept of one single portfolio, several different objectives, and be able to create sub-portfolios to assign for each of the objectives. And this is the way Tower Wealth Management works. Now, if we look a little bit more in detail of how Tower works, you can define initial wealth position of the client, internal, external. Then we can start building the different goals and requirements and do simulation and do a detailed analytics for those goals. Then you can virtualize the client portfolio, one or several portfolios, and generate proposals for the different objectives, and then do a detailed follow-up plan. Yeah? And of course, the priority is to keep the client informed and to make sure that it covers all the needs of the client, and at the same time keep management informed, generate profitability, and ensure that the regulator is 100% happy with the work that we're doing in terms of compliance. And this is it. So I just pass it on back to Begoña. Begoña, are you with us?
Well, I think it's Javier, it's time for me to talk about the third point we wanted to share with our audience. This is about artificial intelligence and the new combination of science and human-based advisory models that are emerging. Okay, so let's start with what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about three applications, some applications of artificial intelligence based on three different technologies. One is clustering, and the second one is natural language processing, and the third one is neural networks. Clustering, we're using it for personalization. Natural language processing, we're using to do market segment, analyze market sentiment. And the third one, neural networks, we're using it to do the asset allocation of our service called model portfolio services. So let's start with the first one, clustering. What is clustering about? It's a machine learning technique that involves the grouping of data points. Given a set of data points, we can use the clustering algorithm to classify each data point into a specific group. Okay, and let's talk about some three applications of this clustering that we're doing at TechRules. The first one is finding investment alternatives, and as you see in the right side of the screen, there is an example of how within a specific portfolio that is based on ETFs, we can find different assets related to your portfolio that are performing quite well, or we think that they have a nice condition, and they could add value to your existing portfolio. There's another application in clustering, like segmenting your clients, or grouping your advisors into the platform. Reading all the data, we see similarities between your clients or your advisors, so you can give them a specific service for them, personalized service for them, based on their needs. So let's move to the second technology, natural language processing. This is something that is being used a lot to read. Basically, the computers have the ability to process and analyze large amounts of text. And we're using to read Twitter text and to analyze what the people think about specific stock. So let's go to the next slide, and you can see an example of 3 or 4 different stocks, and what this technology is reading on Twitter in the last week, and we can segment the opinion of this text between bullish, neutral, or bearish. So and we create this score from 0 to 10 that tell us what in general people think about a specific stock. If you see in the left side, Ultra Beauty, we have a 9.22 market sentiment. That means that most of the people is thinking quite well about this company. Okay, so if we move to the next slide, here we analyze a specific stock that is Skyworks Solution, and we have 2 measures. One is what we call the quant score, and the second one is the sentiment analysis. And if we find a nice or good quant score and a good sentiment analysis, we think this stock is interesting to consider and to add into your portfolio. In this case, Skyworks, if you see the graph on the right, you see it's in the upper side of the graph and in the right side of the graph. So it's got a really nice quant score and a really nice sentiment analysis. And finally, neural networks, this third artificial intelligence technology. This technology, what has the ability is to recognize different patterns. It's based on the human brain's behavior, that it gets inputs. It's got some nodes that analyze those inputs, and then it has outputs based on those inputs. So neural networks have the ability to recognize specific patterns. And how are we using these networks within TechRules? Well, but one specific application is in our model portfolio services. We do quantitative asset allocation processes with our model portfolio strategies. So once a month, we like to know which is the best mix of assets within these specific model portfolios. So we use these neural networks to build some estimates of how these market segments are going to behave. And it gives us a very interesting input in order to make this asset allocation. And that's all from my side. I mean, I just talk about these three technologies and different applications about these technologies. So I pass the word to back to Begoña, or Javier, if they want to add anything else.
Thank you very much, Jaime. Thank you very much, Javier. Hope this was interesting for everyone. So any doubt or any question that you like to do to TechRules, just reach us in our website or in Bright Talk. See you soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.